Did you know that the same trillions of microorganisms that are responsible for the ambiance of your flatulence also influence how well you think? Yeah, they've got a pretty wide variety of talents. And it just so happens they may enjoy exercising more than Richard Simmons and David Goggins combined. Yep, I didn't believe it either until I saw this. Yo, what is up? Welcome back to another week of How to Health. My name is Kevin. I run liftandbalance.com, where we take aim at all things health and longevity and do it in an odd, weird, interesting, and highly sarcastic way. Today, we are once again geeking out on our ecosystem within, the tens of trillions of microorganisms which live in and on us right here, right now. Highlighting how when we move our badonkadonk in an intentional, methodical way, we're not only helping ourselves, but we're helping them too. At least the health supporting species. And by association, helping us even more. Because we all know the old saying, you scratch your microbes back, they scratch yours. We all know it, right? Okay, maybe I just made it up, but today, I'm going to show you why it's true. Because we will not only be looking at some new research displaying what happens to our microbes when we consistently move our ass, but also talk about how having a healthier and more diverse community of microbes enhances the adaptive response of exercise throughout the body. As a great philosopher once said, it's like circle. And we will finish up, as always, talking about some ways to boost your internal communities so you can start or continue reaping all of these cellular and metabolic benefits from your creepy crawlers. Because simply put, we cannot be at our biological best without them. So we might as well help them help us, right?
Of course.
Thought so. Now, before we dive into the details, it is critical to understand that nurturing our city of microbes within is not a one-time activity. This is a full life continuous endeavor, just like maintaining muscle mass, bone density, cognitive function, and, well, owning your health. And in case you were wondering, here's why. The bacterial communities which make up our unique microbiome are ever-changing, constantly adapting and being influenced by a plethora of different factors, from food and environment to movement, sleep, medications, and everyday household items. These variables sway our community of microbes in one of two directions. One of symbiotic diversity, where we help them and they help us, or one of stressful dysbiosis, where we knowingly or unknowingly act hostile and they return the favor. Not a hard choice of which one you want, right? But unfortunately, most of us intelligent walking apes fall into the second, more hostile category when it comes to our relationship with our microbes. Worst part being, we don't even realize it's happening. This is often the byproduct of falling into the trap of modern societal norms, aka the ultra-processed eating, deprived sleep, sedentary behavior, toxins galore, and severe nature deficit. All things that have been ingrained in our life since we were wee laddies and ladettes, with the byproduct of this standard Western living being a chronic state of dysbiosis, or microbiome imbalance, an internal environment where nefarious bacteria thrive, bringing along the O2 accepted digestive issues, chronic inflammation, irritable bowel syndrome, brain fog, hormone disturbances, uncontrolled cravings, and disease. This is very much the scenario where the apple is the byproduct of the barrel, which means when you change the toxic barrel or environment, your apples, aka good microbes, will begin to flourish. Because when we provide the right type of inputs, good communities begin to thrive, while poor and nefarious ones dwindle. And because these ecosystems are dynamic, that means the best way to nurture your gut dwellers is through lifestyle. And wouldn't you know it, one of the best inputs that we can give them may be badonkadonking. Let's check out this new data. Researchers out of the University of Calgary sought to see the effects of physical activity on the gut microbiota of middle-aged adults with normal and overweight body mass indexes. To do this, they recruited 350 normal and overweight individuals based on BMI, collecting fecal microbiome samples as well as physical activity, grip strength, and dietary information, and analyzed the data to see if there were any significant associations between BMI, strength, and activity levels with microbiome health and diversity. Sounds interesting. So, what'd they find? Well, a few things, and also a few caveats. First, they found that physical activity levels were associated with different gut microbiome signatures, finding an increase in overall diversity and prevalence of beneficial bacteria such as actinobacteria, proteobacteria phylla, as well as Collinsella and Prevotella genre. However, this was specific to physical activity duration and not intensity, and also dependent on BMI, finding that the beneficial differences were only found in individuals with normal BMIs and stronger grip strengths, which acts as an assay for overall strength. Interesting. But why is this? Well, although there is no decisive answer, researchers call out that this may be due to the other cellular and metabolic downstream effects of being overweight, stating being overweight exerts its own influence on the gut microbiome independently of exercise. In this case, poor dietary habits outweigh some of the beneficial influences of exercise on gut microbes. All in all, they concluded that this study found that physical activity of moderate duration, greater than 150 minutes a week, increased both the richness and diversity of gut microbiomes compared to the study participants which exercised less. Now, this data is not without its limitations, including a rather small sample size, not fully controlling for other variables such as dietary habits and medications, and not being a randomized control trial. Nonetheless, these observational results are interesting, highlighting the association between microbes and exercise, as well as bringing forth the question if exercise is straight up useless on the microbiomes of people who are overweight, in which I, a crazy health and longevity dude on YouTube, would hypothesize and argue, absolutely not. Here's why. Moving our badonkadonk in an intentional and methodical way has so many benefits. And you need look no further than the dozens of videos we have on the topic across this channel. It strengthens the all-important muscles and bones, improves cellular function and efficiency, reduces inflammation, boosts mood, kills cancer, enhances mitochondria function and flexibility, fights disease, primes the brain for learning, helps our microbes, and may be the very best thing up there with diet and sleep to enhance our short-term health and long-term vitality, basically making it as close to a magic potion as we may ever get. Thus, why it is even more important to do it if you find yourself within 2 standard deviations of the chronically sick mean. Because even if you fall into this average category of intelligent walking apes and find yourself carrying around a few extra pounds and some metabolic dysfunction, that doesn't mean that exercise as it pertains to your microbiome health is a lost cause. Oh no, no, no. Instead, it will likely set the stage for the microbe magic to happen, as it can increase blood flow to the gut, which may help deliver more beneficial nutrients to your good microbes, control and lower stress, and reduce inflammation, which when in excess can damage our microbiota, laying the groundwork, especially when combined with high-quality food and circadian-aligned sleep, to repopulate the gut with more diverse, symbiotic communities that promote health and vitality for the long run. Thus, there is no better time to start or continue moving that badonkadonk, especially with the health of your microbes in mind. Now, remember when I said way back 12 minutes ago that exercise actually travels full circle when it comes to gut and muscle health? Now we get to talk about that secret connection. Here's how. It should be no surprise in this ever-connected biological world that the alteration of one system changes and influences the function of another. And this phenomena happens to be no truer than in the circumstance of microbes, exercise, and muscle. Yeah, microbes not only love exercise, but they love them gains too. Because as you may know, one of the necessary components of building and maintaining muscle mass is using it. However, we must also have a sufficient amount of building blocks to complete this effort. This is where protein or long chains of amino acids comes into play. This combo of movement and protein stimulate a cellular process called muscle protein synthesis. And you may be saying, cool, but where are the microbes at? Let me tell you. Previous research, which we conducted a full breakdown on here, provided first of its kind evidence that a healthy gut microbiome is key for optimal skeletal muscle adaptation to exercise, and that a disruption to the microbiome can impair the adaptive response to exercise, aka impair those gains. This is due to the importance of short-chain fatty acids and other metabolites produced by the beneficial communities of gut microbes on the muscle protein synthesis process and overall skeletal muscle plasticity. So, we have a very interesting feedback loop on our hands. Exercise has the ability to improve microbiome health, and microbiome health improves the adaptive response to exercise. And when the opposite of that occurs, the feedback loop turns negative. That being said, exercise alone may not be sufficient to shift one's microbiome on its own, especially in a population that is already metabolically sick. Biology works in funny ways, and there's likely 1,000 things in between that we're not even accounting for. So let's highlight a few additional ways you can shift your microbalance for the better, starting with some good news and bad news. The good being, as mentioned before, our microbiome tends to be heavily influenced by our lifestyle and environment. And the bad news being, our microbiome tends to be heavily influenced by our lifestyle and environment. Double-edged sword if I've ever seen one. Because both of these need a lot of nurturing. Nurturing that is not being done by the average intelligent walking ape, displayed clearly in the ever-rising prevalence of modern disease. That being said, this also means that you happen to be in more control than you think, because you do, of course, own the decision making when it comes to these two factors, at least if your microbes let you. So here are some things to noodle on when it comes to optimizing your garden within. All of these are discussed in much more detail in videos which are linked below. First, eat real food, packed with dietary fiber, high quality protein, healthy fats, pro and prebiotics, and micronutrients. This may be the most powerful factor in cultivating your microbes, because they eat what you eat, and the nefarious communities love the ultra-processed Western diet. Next, get good sleep, because our microbes follow circadian rhythms too. They need to rest and take a break from the digestive demand. So incorporating circadian aligned sleep with a strategic 12+ hour nightly fast can work wonders for your microbes. Then we have the all-important nature. And if you didn't know, that's where most of the world's microbes live. So the more nature you consume, earth you touch, and dirty you get, the more microdiverse you will likely become. And speaking of getting dirty, assess and mitigate the harsh chemicals, cleaning supplies, fragrances, and body care items which are so prevalent in all of our lives, as things such as hand sanitizers, mouthwash, and everyday items can disrupt our skin, gut, and oral microbiomes in a serious way. Also, understand the risks of unnecessary antibiotics, especially broad-spectrum ones. These are designed to wipe out bacteria. And as we know, we need bacteria in and on our body to be at our biological best. This is not to say that antibiotics are bad, as in many cases, they could be life-saving. However, This is a situation where it's all about the context. And in this modern day, they have been overused in a preventative way to the point where they are impacting the health of many in the wrong direction. So talk about the risks, especially to the microbiome, with your doctor. And finally, as we saw today, don't forget to move that badonkadonk. Repeat daily and you'll be maximizing your pretty cool meat soup by microbe manipulation, putting you back in the driver's seat of your health and longevity. Because right now, you probably have trillions of bacteria behind the wheel. And if you've ever been in a long car ride with people you don't enjoy, it just reinforces how the right company makes all the difference. Think about that. We will get there when we get there, okay? Microbes.